Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting, as we take a look at the Saturday card, Ashland and Bluegrass Day at Keeneland. And we're going to look at the 5 graded stakes races. We'll also check in on the Wood Memorial and the Santa Anita Derby as well. So, Jim, let's jump right in with the 6th race. It starts in all stakes pick 5, the grade 3 Commonwealth at 7 furlongs. Who'd you like?
Yeah, it's a nice race. I like AP Indian. AP Indian won the Phoenix here on Keeneland's track last October, came back in the Breeders' Cup Sprint and ran at almost 3-1. Didn't have a great trip, and that's the only time he ran under 100 last year. So I think Delacour will have him ready. He's got a nice work behind him at Tampa, shipping up here for this spot. It's well spotted, I think. AP Indian is my pick in the 6th race. The Commonwealth Limousine Liberal has had success at Keeneland in the past as well. Didn't run very well in the Breeders' Cup Sprint and finished second by a nose to AP Indian here last year. So I think the horses that have experience over this track have an edge here. You got a couple other horses. Amis Flatter, a horse that you loved last year in the Commonwealth, and is the defending champion with a 105 buyer. Did not run as well in the succeeding races, but again, likes this place, ran 3rd behind the 2 top choices in the Phoenix. So I'm kind of redundant here, but I think the 3 horses that came out of the Phoenix last year are the 3 top choices here as well. Fishchap Road for Brett Calhoun has a shot. New horse called Redisdale for Brandon Walsh is intriguing, undefeated at Fairgrounds, won 2 races at Fairgrounds, but stepping way up in class. Yaki's Warrior has a shot. Very well balanced race, but I think AP Indian is the class of the race, and going to start my pick 5, at least using AP Indian and Limousine Liberal.
I'm taking a swing at one you didn't even mention. It tells you how strong this field is. Awesome Slew, second time for Cassie. Caught Sharp Ass Tekka last time, so that's a step down. And then I like the turn back from longer races to 7 furlongs for this one too. So I'm going to try for a bit of a price here. I got it with Amis Flatter last year. I'm going to try to get it with Awesome Slew this year. AP Indian, Limousine Liberal, Amis Flatter are the ones I'm going to use with Awesome Slew in exactas. Almost went to Limousine Liberal, but I have a question about that one at 7 furlongs. But boy, he loves Keeneland. I think Fish Trap Road's worth throwing in as well. But I'm going to take Awesome Slew for a bit of an upset in the Commonwealth. 7th race goes on the turf, 5.5 furlongs, the grade 2 Shakertown. And I went to Justin Squared in here. His training lights out for Wesley Ward. He hits at 26% off the layoff. I saw him interviewed in Marty McGree's story for the Daily Racing Form, and he said he thought his stable was set up to do really well at this meet. And I like those inside posts, in 5 and inside, maybe not the rail, but 3, 4, 5, maybe even the 2-hole in these turf sprints. And so I like Justin Squared out of the 4-hole. Green Mask, Rainbow Air, and Hoagie are all dangerous. I think Rainbow Air is probably the next most likely winner for me. In fact, the way I suggested playing this race in my write-up for the Keeneland website was exacta wheel with Justin Squared and Rainbow Air over those 2 and the Green Mask and Hoagie. How about you?
Like most of your horses, I did not use Justin Squared. I think the layoff from September, yes, dropping back from 6.5 furlongs at Santa Anita, that's a completely different race coming to 5.5 here. And Wesley gets him ready, and I think he does want to have a good meet here, obviously. But I didn't use him. I used Rainbow Air, the 2, Green Mask, the 3, and Hoagie, the 7, and I had a really hard time separating those 3. If you made me pick somebody, I think because of the 2 races at Gulfstream West and Gulfstream, both wins at 5 furlongs, for Jason Service, I would pick Rainbow Air as my top choice here, but in my race wagers, I'm going to use those 3. I don't think I'll use Justin Squared, but I may regret it. It's another well-balanced race here. Mongolian Saturday is a horse that we didn't mention either.
Yeah, good point.
He didn't do very well here at Keeneland. He just won the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint back in 2015 at 5.5 furlongs. That sounds familiar, with a 107 buyer. So he's been around the world a couple of times since then, though. So I did not use Mongolian Saturday, but it would not shock me if he jumped up and ran better at Keeneland. 2 for 2 at Keeneland. I don't think you should leave him off it, and he might get a price on him.
8th race is the Grade 1 Madison for fillies and mares 3 and up at 7 furlongs. or 4-0, I think it is. And another well-matched group here. Who did you land on?
It's hard when you start building multi-race wagers. You got to figure out which ones you're going to go light on. This is not one of them. I think Paid Up Subscriber on the inside for Chad Brown, the one horse with Rosario. I think Clothes Fall Off just because of the name. I got to use that horse. But Kerry McLaughlin has obviously got this horse really going well. And the inside track at the inner turf or inner dirt at Aqueduct won by 4.5 last time out. Paula's Signing for Chad Brown, again, very consistent, and probably the classiest horse in here with some Grade 1 placings. Lost to Finest City in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint last year. So I think that those three are my top choices. Again, I have a hard time eliminating horses. Constellation for Hollendorfer, he's not shipping in just for the fun, and Flores takes that mount. I think I go those four. My pick would probably be Paid Up Subscriber. I love Chad Brown and ran well in the Spinster last year, but she just couldn't run with I'm a Chatterbox, but got a nice second. So Paid Up Subscriber would probably be my pick in another. Madison's always a great race, and it's no exception this weekend.
Paid Up Subscriber is who I landed on. I talked to Chad Brown for an interview for the Keeneland YouTube channel, and he has this one now, and he also has Paula Silver Lining. And he said he only got the latter a short time ago, and didn't know as much really about her at this point. But he said they've been pointing to this race for Paid Up Subscriber all through the winter. So I found that was thought that was kind of interesting, and the horses run well here and is working really well. Constellation I thought was real dangerous for Hollendorfer. High Ridge Road for Linda Rice, and then I'm going to throw in Kath Ballou into the mix just out of the affinity for this track. I'm not sure if she's quite good enough, but she really likes Keeneland. So I'm going to take Paid Up Subscriber to win and use her in exactas with those other three that I mentioned. The 9th race is the Central Bank Ashland Stakes that has produced the last 2 Kentucky Oaks winners. I went to Elate here for Claiborne Farm and Adele Dilschneider and Bill Mott, the trainer. Those are connections that don't ask their horses to do too much too soon usually, and they're going out of a Grade 3 into a Grade 1, and I think it's the 4th lifetime start for this horse. So they obviously have a real high opinion of her ability, and that out of that bold move for those connections, I'm going to take Elate. Daddy's Little Darling, I really liked last fall. I think she might be better at the 1 1/8 of the Oaks than the 1 16th with the short stretch here. That could get her beat in this race, I'm thinking. She's very, very dangerous. I think that turf prep sets her up well for this. And then Tapped, if she runs here, she's also going to be entered in the Beaumont, I think, for Hollendorfer. But if she goes, you have to respect Hollendorfer shipping in. But I'm going to take Elate to win the Central Bank Ashland. How about you?
I'm right with you, but I really like Daddy's Little Darling. I think she was one of the most impressive fillies that I saw in person last year in the paddock before the Alcibiades. And she almost won it at a 1 16th, but
from the 14 hole.
Came from way out of it, the 14 hole. Then she goes to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, and I liked her, but she drew the 11 hole there. So she had some bad luck with post positions. I still think she's absolutely gorgeous last year. She hasn't done as well, but she's had some bad racing luck, and she ran behind Farrell in the Goldenrod last November at Churchill, and you see what she's done. Farrell's probably going to be the Oaks favorite after winning the Fairground Oaks last week. So I like Daddy's Little Darling. I like Elate because she is improving at the right time. She's lightly raced. Mott brings her here. Ortiz rides. A lot of things to like about Elate. And if I'm going to do an exacta, my daughter's birthday is 2/6. I am definitely going to do a 2/6 exacta box in this race because that's the two I like the best. Elate just barely over. Summer Luck has a shot, I think, for Mark Cassie. Pretty City Dancer, the other Cassie horse, both of them came out of Devona Dale, and neither one, the Summer Luck only got beat by 3/4 of a length, and she was gaining at the end. First time she stretches out to a 1 16th as well as Pretty City Dancer. So it's a nice, evenly matched race. The 3-year-old filly division is wide open, so I think we're going to get some Oak starters out here. That's for sure. We may even get a third straight winner. Daddy's Little Darling and Elate in a coin flip here, I think, for me.
I would have to have one of those 40-horse races at Royal Ascot to cover my daughter's birthday in box 12 and 22.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. I don't see many 22-horse fields at Keeneland or anywhere else in the States. All right, let's go to the 10th race. It's the Grade 2 Toyota Bluegrass Stakes. I think it's the best of the Derby preps. It is not as big a field as last year, but great quality with several stakes winners in here, and I think there's a decent chance you could get the Derby favorite out of it. Who did you take in the Bluegrass?
Yeah, if you look at the ratings before the Florida Derby last week, when the horse jumps up to the top of the ratings, or second or third, but we had 4 out of the top 6 rated horses here, with McCracken, J-Boy's Echo, Taprit, and Practical Joke. I settled on Taprit. Todd Pletcher he may have 6 horses in the field this time. All of his horses are doing well. We're going to talk about the Wood Memorial in a few minutes. He's got one of the favorites there. Taprit was extremely impressive in the Tampa Derby, and although McCracken beat him in the Sam F. Davis, Taprit took a big step forward, and McCracken hasn't raced since then. That's the only reason that I'm favoring him over McCracken. He's checked all the boxes. He's undefeated. He's moving forward on the buyer level. Ian Wilkes loves him. It'd be a great story if Ian wins the Bluegrass here. B.J. Hernandez has a choice of 2 horses. And obviously, if McCracken wins the Bluegrass, he's probably going to stick with him as one of the Derby favorites. I just think Taprit is getting really good at the right time, and that one race difference with the Tampa Bay Derby made me choose Taprit over McCracken. J-Boy's Echo coming out of Gotham. Don't know who he beat there. Cloud Computing is racing in New York again. Ella Reeb is off the trail now. 102 buyer jumping up from 84 to 102 scares me with J-Boy's Echo. I don't think he's going to run a 105. So I'm and Practical Joke he seems to me he's going to run in the money, but maybe not a threat to win. So Taprit is my choice. McCracken's my second choice. 4 over 2, 7 and 3 in the Toyota Bluegrass.
I am going to take J-Boy's Echo for Romans to get 2 in a row. He'd be the first trainer in 40 years to do that. Leroy Jolly was the last trainer that did it in 1977. I love that race last time, just visually very impressive. And when we get to the Wood, I'm going to take a stand that was a good race. So I'm going to take the horse that ran second to him to win the Wood. So J-Boy's Echo for me, I like the 3 workouts since. I like that he won here, and he's by Mineshaft, who loved Keeneland. So I think a lot in the pedigree for J-Boy's Echo. And I'm going to bet that he is getting good at the right time, and I'm going to take J-Boy's Echo, and I'm going to use him with the 2 you mentioned. I think if J-Boy's Echo doesn't win, Taprit would be my next most likely winner. So I'm going to use J-Boy's Echo in boxes with Taprit and with McCracken. And if J-Boy's Echo can be first or second, I think I'll have the exactas. I think one of those other 2 will be in there with him. The Bluegrass is the end of an all-stakes pick 5 that begins in the 6th race, an all-stakes pick 4 that begins in the 7th. Let's do the pick 5 first in the 6th. To keep the ticket down a little bit, I'm just going to use J-Boy Echo and Taprit in the last leg. I'm going to use Awesome Slew, AP Indian, Limousine Liberal, Amise Flatter in the and I'm going to throw in Fish Tap Road as well. So I'm going to use 5 in the first leg. I use Justin Squared and Rainbow Air in the Shakertown, paid-up subscriber Constellation High Ridge Road in the Madison, a late Daddy's Little Darling and Tapped in the Ashland, and then the 2 I mentioned in the Bluegrass for my pick 5. What's yours look like?
Well, I've got a $108 ticket. I'm warning you right up front. And if you can get down to the Ashland and separate Elate and Daddy's Little Darling, you can cut it in half. So I'm going to use 3 horses in the first leg of the pick 5, Limousine Liberal the 3, AP Indian the 7, and Amise Flatter the 8. In the second leg, I'm going to go 2-3-7 with Rainbow Air, Green Mask, and Hoagie. Third leg, I'm going to play 1-2-6 with Paid Up Subscriber, Clothes Fall Off, and Paula's Silver Lining. In the Central Bank Ashland, I'm going to use both the horses that I talked about, Elate and Daddy's Little Darling. That's the 2 and the 6. And then I'm going 4 deep in the Toyota Bluegrass with 2-3-4-7 with McCracken, Taprit, J-Boy's Echo, and Practical Joke. So 2-3-4-7. That's a $108 ticket. If you want to cut it in half, take Daddy's Little Darling or Elate in the Central Bank Ashland.
For the pick 4, that starts in the Shakertown, the 7th race. I'm going to use Rainbow Air and Justin Squared. Use the same 3 in the Madison, the same 3 in the Ashland. I'm going to add McCracken in the last leg of my pick 4 ticket out of the Bluegrass and change that up a little bit. How about you?
I'm going to change it up a little bit. I've got a $48 ticket, and in the first leg, the Shakertown, I'm going to use 4 horses instead of 3. I'm going to go 2-3-6-7 with Rainbow Air, Green Mask. I'm going to add Mongolian Saturday because I just think that he might have a big race left in him, and Hoagie is the 7 horse. So I'm going to go 4 deep there. I'm going to add one horse in the Madison with 1256, paid up subscriber, close fall off. I'm going to add High Ridge Road, the horse that you mentioned, and Paula's Silver Lining, so 1256. Then I'm going to go 3 deep on my pick 4 ticket in the Ashland with Elate the 2, Summer Luck the 5, and Daddy's Little Darling the 6. And then taking a stand in the Toyota Bluegrass with McCracken the 2 and Taprit the 4. That's a $48 ticket, and hopefully we'll hit both of them.
I want to take a quick look at a couple of other big Derby preps on Saturday. In New York, they have the Grade 2 Wood Memorial. And who did you like in there?
I know who you're picking.
Yeah.
you gave it away. Cloud Computing is my second choice here. I do, J-Boy's Echo, if obviously the Wood Memorial runs at 5:52 and we're going to run about 6:20. So if you're betting both those races and Cloud Computing runs big here, J-Boy's Echo is going to be a good bet in the Toyota Bluegrass. He's improving. He's only had 2 starts. I can make a huge case for him. But I'm going to take Battalion Runner the 3 for Todd Pletcher. Again, I can't eliminate any Todd's horses because they're running really well. And they scratched him out of Florida last week to run in this spot. He's moving way up in class off an optional claimer, but he looks really good. And I've watched his last couple races on tape, and he's the real deal. Whether he's seasoned enough and stakes seasoned enough, but this race is not that tough. I think it comes down to those 2 plus Irish War Cry. And this time of year, you look at a race like Irish War Cry ran in the Fountain of Youth, and you just shake your head. It was so bad, you just mark a line through it and say he had a bad day. They pressed the pace, and then Joel, he gets beat by 21 lengths, but he's only 2 lengths out of it at the half-mile marker. So I don't worry about that too much. The 101 versus a 63 buyer is the throw out for me. If he runs back to the Holy Bull, he can beat these horses easily, but he's got it to prove. So I'm going to take Battalion Runner the 3 on top of Cloud Computing the 7 and Irish War Cry the 8.
I have Battalion Runner in the second Derby future book as on a win ticket, so I would not be unhappy if he runs big here. But I'm going to try Cloud Computing just because I really like the Gotham, and I like the jock switch to Irad Ortiz here as well. So I'm going to take Cloud Computing to knock off Battalion Runner. Irish War Cry is the other one, so I would use 7-3 box, 7-8 box, but Cloud Computing is going to be my win pick for the Wood Memorial. The Grade 1 Santa Anita Derby, not quite as strong as it's been in recent years out west. I ended up going to Gormley. John Sheriff's won first time out last summer at Del Mar with this horse, and that's something he doesn't do a whole lot, so that tells me this one's got a lot of talent. He proved that by coming back to win a Grade 1. Didn't run well in the Breeders' Cup. 3-year-old debut was really good, and then had a clunker last time. So he's been a little in and out, but I read where they're going to maybe change his running style a little bit and have him just sitting off a little bit and try to finish. So I'm going to, on the strategy change and respect for Sheriffs, take Gormley to win the Santa Anita Derby. I think American Anthem's probably the one to beat. Iliad is another one I would use, and I'll probably throw in Royal Mo as well, but I'm going to key around number 8, Gormley. How about you?
Yeah, the thread running through this race is there's a lot of horses here that were highly regarded that ran terrible races. American Anthem, Royal Mo, So Conflated, the 5, and Gormley's last race wasn't that good. I mean, he was 2-1 in the San Felipe, and he gets beat by 9 3/4 by Iliad and Term of Art. By reason of that, I can't just ignore those bad races that happen, 8 weeks out from the Derby. So I'm going to go with Iliad because he hasn't run a bad race after he started at Del Mar, and obviously he wasn't ready for that start. But after that, he's run 3 good ones and got beat by Mastery. If Mastery was still on the Derby trail, I think he'd be the favorite in the Derby right now. He'd certainly be the favorite in this race. So he gets beat by Mastery in the San Felipe, ran a good race after being 3 wide. So I'm going to take Iliad here, the 9. But I have a rooting interest in this race because I've got Royal Mo $20 at 85-1 in the Vegas future book. So I want Royal Mo to get to the Derby just so I got a shot at $1,700. So Royal Mo would be my second choice, hoping that the Rebel was just a throwout. They didn't like the Derby, didn't like Arkansas, got mad at, didn't like Walmart or something. I have no idea, but he didn't like the trip to Oaklawn. So hopefully back at Santa Anita he'll run his race. And American Anthem hopefully will bounce back from the race he ran last time out. So I'm going to take Iliad the 9 over American Anthem the 6, hopefully that he didn't like Oaklawn, Royal Mo the 13, and probably So Conflated, letting him bounce back as well, the 5. So the horses that ran bad I'm running underneath Iliad the 9, who's my choice in a wide-open Santa Anita Derby.
Best of luck on a great racing day on Saturday. We'll have another podcast coming up with a Sunday card featuring the Beaumont Stakes here on the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.